The discovery. The sprawling archives of the Galactic Concordat stretched for miles beneath the crystalline surface of Celtrax Prime. Here, among towering data crystals and humming quantum matrices, Varric Zoll found himself once again lost in the forbidden sections that so few of his kind dared to access. As the youngest Xenorchaeologist to ever join the prestigious order of cosmic historians, Varric had a reputation for challenging established knowledge. His slender blue form moved with purpose through the dimly lit corridors, six-fingered hands brushing against the ancient data repositories that contained the collected wisdom of 20,000 years of interstellar civilization. "Access denied," chimed the neural interface as Varric attempted to probe deeper into the restricted archives. "Section Epsilon 7 requires Concordat High Council clearance." Varric smiled, his iridescent eyes gleaming in the low light. He wasn't about to let security protocols stop his research. Not when he was so close to understanding the greatest mystery in galactic history: why Earth remained untouched. "Override Protocol Zeta 9, he whispered, inserting a small crystalline key into the terminal. It was a gift from his mentor before she disappeared 3 cycles ago while researching the same mystery. The terminal hummed to life, bathing Varric in pale blue light as ancient files projected before him. What he saw made his 3 hearts skip simultaneously. There, floating in holographic detail, was a star chart showing a pattern of warning beacons, thousands of them, encircling a small solar system in the unfashionable western spiral arm of the galaxy. Earth's solar system. The beacons predated the Concordat itself. They were placed by the predecessors, the mysterious species that had vanished nearly 50,000 years ago, leaving nothing but enigmatic technology and stern warnings. What were they protecting? Or containing? Varric muttered to himself. The files contained fragmented reports spanning millennia, different species at different stages of technological development, all reporting the same phenomenon. Ships approaching Earth experienced inexplicable malfunctions. Exploration teams that managed to land never returned. Remote probes ceased transmission after capturing strange energy readings. And strangest of all, every advanced civilization in recorded history had independently arrived at the same conclusion. Earth was to be avoided at all costs. Yet there was no explanation why. No documentation of what made Earth so dangerous. Only warnings, passed from one species to the next, becoming doctrine over time. Varric's research had revealed something else. Humans had been evolving on Earth all this time, completely unaware of the galactic community that observed them from afar. Occasionally, human vessels ventured beyond their atmosphere, but the warning beacons ensured they never encountered other intelligent life. Unauthorized access detected in Archive Epsilon 7 announced a stern voice over the facility's communication system. Security protocols engage. Varric quickly downloaded the remaining files into his neural implant. He had minutes, perhaps seconds, before security drones would arrive. As he prepared to leave, one final image appeared before him. A detailed scan of Earth showing unusual energy patterns emanating from the planet's core. Energy patterns that matched no known cosmic phenomenon. The pieces began falling into place. The warnings, the quarantine, the mystery of why even the most powerful species in the galaxy steered clear of this seemingly unremarkable world. Earth wasn't just home to humans. It contained something else, something ancient, something powerful enough to terrify even the predecessors. Varric fled the archives, his mind racing with possibilities. Security drones converged on his location, but he had prepared for this eventuality. A small electromagnetic pulse device disabled them long enough for him to reach the transportation hub. 3 days later, aboard his research vessel, the Celestial Inquirer, Varric stood before the Concordat's orbital security checkpoint. His falsified research permits had passed the initial inspection, but the final authorization required direct communication with Central Command. "Destination?" inquired the mechanized voice of the checkpoint eye. Varric hesitated. This was his last chance to turn back. Everything he had learned warned against what he was about to do. Yet the scientist in him couldn't resist the greatest mystery in the galaxy. Outer Research Perimeter, Sector 37B, he replied, using the designation for a harmless asteroid field far from his actual destination. The checkpoint shimmered, then cleared. Proceed. Researcher Varric Sol. Safe journeys. As the Celestial Inquirer accelerated beyond the checkpoint, Varric input the true coordinates into the navigation system. The ship's AI protested briefly before accepting the override. Course set for Sol system, the AI confirmed. Estimated arrival in 17 cycles. Be advised. Destination is located within a prohibited sector. Proceeding may violate Concordat Treaty Section 5.3. Acknowledged, Varric replied, watching as the stars stretched into luminous streaks around his vessel. In the ship's small laboratory, he reviewed the data stolen from the archives. Among the fragments was a recording from an ancient species called the Voth, who had approached Earth nearly 10,000 years ago. We detected a power unlike any we have encountered in our million-year history. It resides not just on the planet, but seems to permeate the beings that inhabit it. The power grows with them, evolves as they evolve. We attempted communication, but the results were catastrophic. 3 of our most advanced warships lost. Over 2,000 crew members vanished. The humans appear unaware of what they carry within them. For the safety of all spacefaring civilizations, we have established the quarantine perimeter. No contact is to be attempted. Earth must remain isolated until... The recording ended there, leaving Varric with more questions than answers. What power could destroy 3 advanced warships? Why did it only affect alien technology? And most intriguingly, why were humans unaware of their own significance? As his ship hurtled toward the forbidden solar system, Varric couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the verge of discovering something that would change the galaxy forever. For better or worse, he would soon learn why the oldest species in the galaxy steered clear of Earth. And it wasn't just because of humans. The encounter. The Celestial Inquirer dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, behind the orbit of a dwarf planet the humans called Pluto. Varric's ship sensors immediately picked up the warning beacons, thousands of them, forming a spherical network around the entire system. Fascinating, Varric muttered, studying the ancient technology. They're still operational after 50,000 years. The beacons weren't just warning devices. They were designed to alter the quantum probability field around any approaching vessel, subtly influencing navigation systems to route around the Sol system rather than through it. Most ship captains would never even realize their course had been altered. But Varric had come prepared. His ship's navigation system had been modified with algorithms specifically designed to counter such quantum interference. Engaging stealth protocols, the ship's AI announced. Thermal and electromagnetic signatures masked. Varric guided his vessel carefully through the beacon network, expecting some form of response. Nothing happened. The ancient defense system recognized his ship's presence, but seemed unable to affect its specially shielded systems. As the Celestial Inquirer moved inward through the system, Varric observed the planets with growing excitement. Jupiter's swirling storms, Saturn's majestic rings, the rust-red surface of Mars, all fascinating, but merely preludes to his true destination. Earth appeared on his view screen, a blue-green jewel hanging in the void. Scattered across its night side, the lights of human civilization twinkled like earthbound stars. Scanning for optimal landing location, the AI reported. Warning: unusual energy signatures detected. Pattern does not match any known cosmic phenomenon. The readings matched those in the ancient archives. A strange energy field that permeated the entire planet, most strongly concentrated along something the humans called ley lines. The field appeared dormant, inactive, yet Varric's instruments indicated it was responding to his ship's presence, like an immune system reacting to a foreign body. Land in an isolated region, Varric instructed, preferably away from population centers, but close enough to observe human activity. The ship selected a forested area in what humans called the Pacific Northwest of the North American continent. As the celestial inquirer descended through the atmosphere, Varric felt a strange sensation, a tingling pressure that seemed to press against his consciousness rather than his physical form. Warning, the ship's AI announced, its voice distorting slightly. Unknown energy field interfering with primary systems, diverting to backup protocols. The descent became rougher as the ship struggled against the invisible force. Varric gripped his control console, watching as system after system reported anomalies. It was exactly as the archives had described. Something about Earth's unique energy field disrupted alien technology. The celestial inquirer landed harder than intended in a small clearing, surrounded by towering coniferous trees. Varric ran a quick diagnostic. Nearly 40% of the ship's systems were experiencing unexplained malfunctions. "Fascinating," he whispered. "It's not attacking the technology directly. It's altering the quantum probability field around the ship, increasing the likelihood of system failures." Donning an environmental suit calibrated to make him appear human from a distance, Varric prepared to venture outside. The suit's built-in translator would allow him to understand and speak human languages, while its molecular reconfiguration field would prevent Earth's bacteria and viruses from affecting his alien biology. As he stepped onto Earth's surface for the first time, Varric felt the strange pressure intensify. His neural implants flickered, struggling to maintain connection with his ship's database. "The effect is stronger outside the ship's shielding," he noted, recording his observations. "Yet I feel no direct threat. It's as if the energy is curious about me." Varric's research had indicated a small human settlement approximately 3 kilometers from his landing site. According to his information, humans had not yet achieved faster-than-light travel, though they had established permanent habitations on their moon and were in the early stages of exploring their neighboring planet, Mars. What he discovered in the settlement defied all Concordat intelligence about human technological development. The town appeared ordinary at first glance: wooden structures, primitive combustion vehicles, humans going about their daily activities. But Varric's sensors detected sophisticated energy signatures emanating from nearly every building. Using a stealth field to avoid detection, Varric approached what appeared to be a research facility at the edge of town. Through a window, he observed humans working with technology that should have been centuries beyond their development level. One device particularly caught his attention: a small sphere hovering above a pedestal, generating a gravitational field that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's understood level of physics knowledge. "Impossible," Varric whispered. "According to our data, humans shouldn't achieve gravitational manipulation for at least another century." His observations were interrupted by a sudden failure of his stealth field. The device sputtered and died, leaving him visible to anyone who happened to look his way. Unfortunately, someone did. "Hey, who are you?" "This is a restricted area," called a human voice. Varric turned to see a female human approaching, wearing what appeared to be a laboratory uniform. She stopped abruptly, eyes widening as she noticed his not-quite-perfect human disguise. "You're not from around here, are you?" she asked carefully. Varric's translator struggled with the colloquialism, but conveyed the underlying meaning. His cover was compromised. "I am Varric Zoll, an archaeologist of the Galactic Concordat," he replied, deciding that honesty might be his best option now. "I have come to study Earth and its unusual properties." The woman stared at him for a long moment, then did something entirely unexpected. She smiled. "Well, it's about time someone showed up," she said. "We've been detecting your beacons for decades. I'm Dr. Elena Reyes, quantum physicist. I think you and I have a lot to talk about." As Dr. Rice led him into the facility, which he learned was called the Anomaly Research Center, Varric realized that human technological development had been drastically underestimated by the Concordat. The humans hadn't just detected the ancient warning beacons, they had been studying them, learning from them. "We've known about the quarantine for almost 60 years, Dr. Rice explained, leading him through laboratories filled with technology that blended human engineering with principles clearly derived from studying alien artifacts. What we don't know is why it was established. That's partially why I'm here, Varric admitted. The Concordat archives contain warnings but few explanations. All advanced species avoid Earth, but the reasons have been lost to time. Dr. Reyes nodded thoughtfully. We have a theory about that. Come with me. She led Varric to a secure room deep within the facility. Inside was a chamber containing what appeared to be a simple clear crystal, no larger than his hand. Yet his sensors detected enormous energy readings coming from it. This was found during an archaeological dig in Egypt in 1947, Dr. Reyes explained. It appears to be a data storage device of non-human origin. We've only managed to decode a fraction of the information it contains, but what we found suggests that Earth isn't just our home. It's some kind of containment vessel. Varric stared at the crystal, pieces of the puzzle beginning to fit together in his mind. The quarantine, the energy field, the accelerated technological development of humans. Your species isn't just living on Earth, he said slowly. You're part of its defense system. The revelation. Dr. Rice led Varric deeper into the Anomaly Research Center, past laboratories where humans worked on technology that seamlessly blended their own innovations with principles clearly derived from studying alien artifacts. They entered a secure chamber marked Genesis Project, where a three-dimensional holographic model of Earth rotated slowly above a large circular platform. What you're seeing, Dr. Rice explained, is Earth's energy field mapped in real time. We call it the Genesis Matrix. The hologram showed an intricate web of energy flowing through and around the planet, currents and eddies pulsing in complex patterns that seemed almost organic in nature. Particularly strong currents flowed along what humans had traditionally called ley lines, while massive concentrations appeared at specific locations around the globe. It's beautiful, Varric whispered, his scientific mind racing to understand the patterns. It's also conscious, Dr. Rice added, watching his reaction carefully, or at least semi-conscious. It responds to stimuli, adapts to threats, and appears to have purpose. Varric's 3 hearts beat rapidly as the implications became clear. This is why the galaxy's oldest species avoid Earth, not because they fear humans, but because they fear what we're protecting. Dr. Rice finished. We didn't create this energy field. We evolved within it. It shaped our development, guided our evolution in subtle ways. She gestured to the hologram where human civilization centers perfectly aligned with major energy nodes. Wherever humans gathered in large numbers throughout history, they were unconsciously drawn to these energy concentrations. The field enhances our natural abilities, creativity, resilience, adaptability. And your technological development, Varric added, understanding dawning. The field doesn't just disrupt alien technology. It enhances human innovation, allowing your species to make intuitive leaps that should be impossible. Precisely. We call it the Prometheus effect. Dr. Rice smiled. Your ancient warning beacons actually helped us. By attempting to study them, our scientists made breakthroughs in quantum physics, gravitational manipulation, even early forms of faster-than-light theory. Varric studied the hologram, new questions forming. But what is the field protecting? What's at Earth's core that requires such an elaborate defense system? Before Dr. Reyes could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. The hologram flickered and shifted to show a new display. Multiple vessels entering Earth's atmosphere. We have company, Dr. Reyes said grimly. And they don't look friendly. On the display, 7 ships of distinctly non-human design descended toward their location. Varric recognized them immediately. Concordat enforcement vessels. They followed me, he realized with horror. I led them straight to you. Is that bad? Dr. Rice asked, already mobilizing her team through a rapid series of commands on her communication device. Very, Varric confirmed. Those are Concordat enforcement ships. They're not here for scientific exchange. As if confirming his assessment, The lead ship broadcast a message that echoed through the facility's communication system. Attention, unauthorized terrestrial facility. This is Enforcer Prime Kelix of the Galactic Concordat. You are in possession of restricted knowledge and technology. Surrender the xenoarchaeologist Varric Zol and all data relating to predecessor artifacts immediately. Dr. Rice looked at Varric questioningly. They won't just take me and leave, he explained. Now that they've confirmed humans have been studying the beacons and advancing beyond their expected technological level, they'll implement containment protocol. Which means they'll sterilize this entire region to eliminate the contamination, Varric said grimly. Standard procedure for dealing with species that acquire technology beyond their evolutionary stage. Dr. Rai's expression hardened. Not on my planet. They won't. She activated a facility-wide communication channel. Initiate Genesis protocol. This is not a drill. Throughout the facility, humans moved with practiced efficiency. Rather than panic, Varric observed a coordinated response that spoke of extensive preparation for this very scenario. You've been expecting this, he realized. For decades, Dr. Rice confirmed. The crystal contained warnings about those who would maintain the quarantine. We've been preparing defenses. Outside, the Concordat vessels established a perimeter around the facility, energy weapons charging. Varric expected them to open fire immediately, but instead, they appeared to be struggling. Their ships wobbled in the air, systems clearly malfunctioning. The Genesis matrix is already responding, Dr. Rice noted, watching the holographic display. It's disrupting their technology, just as it did with your ship. That won't stop them for long, Varric warned. Concordat enforcers are equipped with adaptive shielding. Sure enough, the ships stabilized, their systems recalibrating to counteract the disruption. Then we moved to Phase 2, Dr. Rice said calmly. She pressed her palm against a biometric scanner, and a hidden panel in the chamber's floor slid open, revealing a cylindrical device pulsing with blue-white energy. What is that? Varric asked. We call it the resonator. It amplifies human connection to the Genesis matrix. She turned to him, her expression solemn. What makes humans dangerous isn't our technology, Varric. It's our connection to Earth's energy field. Under normal circumstances, most humans only access about 0.5% of the field's potential. The resonator changes that. As Dr. Rice activated the device, Varric felt the strange pressure he'd experienced since landing intensify dramatically. The holographic display of Earth's energy field flared with sudden activity, countless new connections forming between humans and the Matrix. Outside, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The Concordat vessels suddenly lost all power, dropping from the sky before emergency systems engaged, allowing them to make rough landings surrounding the facility. How is this possible? Varric whispered, watching as the enforcer troops emerged from their vessels, only to find their advanced weapons completely non-functional. Humans evolved as part of Earth's defense system, Dr. Rice explained as they watched the confrontation unfold through the facility's monitoring systems. The Matrix flows through us. When properly attuned, we can direct it. Varric observed in amazement as the human security team confronted the Concordat enforcers without fear. The typically intimidating aliens, now stripped of their technological advantages, found themselves facing humans who moved with unusual speed and coordination, as if guided by a collective intelligence. They're not killing them, Varric noted with surprise as the humans efficiently neutralized and detained the enforcers. That's not our way, Dr. Rice said. We want to understand, not destroy. The facility's systems indicated that Enforcer Prime Kelix was requesting direct communication. Dr. Rice accepted the call, and the stern face of the Concordat official appeared on the main display. This aggression against Concordat personnel constitutes an act of war, Kelix declared, mandibles clicking in agitation. Release our forces immediately. Dr. Rice remained calm. Your forces invaded sovereign territory and threatened unprovoked violence against our people. They have not been harmed, merely contained until we can establish peaceful dialogue. Kelix's compound eyes narrowed. You cannot possibly expect to stand against the Concordat. We represent 10,000 worlds. We don't want to stand against anyone, Dr. Reyes replied. But we will defend our world. Perhaps it's time for proper introduction rather than continued isolation. Before Kelix could respond, Varric stepped into view. Enforcer Prime, I believe I know why the predecessors established the quarantine around Earth. It wasn't to protect the galaxy from humans. Explain, Synorchaeologist, Kelix demanded. Earth isn't just a planet, Varric continued. It's a living system, possibly the last of its kind. The energy field we've detected isn't a weapon. It's a nascent cosmic intelligence. He gestured to the holographic display showing the Genesis matrix. The predecessors didn't quarantine Earth to contain a threat. They did it to protect something precious while it develops. Humans aren't the danger. They're the caretakers, evolving alongside the intelligence, forming a symbiotic relationship with it. Dr. Reyes nodded. The crystal we found contained fragments of a message. Guard the seed until it blooms. We believe Earth itself harbors a cosmic intelligence still in its developmental stage, what some might call a god egg. Humans evolved as its immune system. Kelix was silent for a long moment, his alien features unreadable to human eyes. Finally, he spoke. If what you say is true, this changes everything. The Concordat protocols regarding cosmic intelligences are very different from those for technological contamination. Then perhaps it's time for a new approach, Varric suggested. Not quarantine, but cooperative stewardship. The humans have proven themselves worthy guardians. They didn't develop weapons from the technology they discovered. They created medical advances, clean energy, tools for learning and growth. The tension in the room was palpable as Kelix considered this proposal. Finally, the Enforcer Prime gave what passed for a nod in his species. I will recommend the High Council send a diplomatic delegation rather than an enforcement fleet, he conceded. Until then, a temporary truce. After the communication ended, Varric turned to Dr. Reyes. You knew all along, didn't you? About Earth's true nature? She smiled enigmatically. We had theories. What we didn't know was why the galactic community feared us so much. Now we do. Humans aren't feared, Varric corrected. You're misunderstood. The oldest species in the galaxy don't avoid Earth because of humans. They avoid it because they recognize what's growing here, and they respect the process enough not to interfere. Dr. Rice led Varric to a window overlooking the facility grounds, where human security personnel were now engaged in cautious but peaceful interaction with the Concordat enforcers. So what happens now? She asked. Varric watched as humans and aliens began the first steps of diplomatic contact, communication devices translating between languages that had never been meant to interact. Something unprecedented, he replied. For 50,000 years, Earth has been isolated by fear and misunderstanding. Now, perhaps, a new chapter begins, not quarantine, but cooperation. As if in response to his words, the Genesis matrix display behind them pulsed with renewed energy, its patterns shifting into increasingly complex configurations. The cosmic intelligence at Earth's core, protected for millennia by unwitting human guardians and alien warning beacons alike, continued its patient development. And for the first time since the predecessors vanished, the oldest species in the galaxy would have a reason to approach Earth rather than avoid it, not with fear, but with wonder.